NCAA Football 14 was the finale to a very fun series of college football games. We haven't had an EA Sports college football game since 2013, and probably won't get another one for a long ass time, if we ever get another one at all. So how timeless is NCAA 14? What's up guys, it's Kofie here, and today we're going to take a look at NCAA Football 14 and see how well it's aged over time. Before we begin, I make new videos every week, so be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube and follow me on Twitter to be the first to see these videos. So for today, I'm going to be looking at some game modes and other things. I'm going to compare how it stacks up to its older brother, Madden. This is all I have to compare it to because they don't make the college football games anymore, so yeah. Yeah, the gameplay is fine. Yes, Madden has introduced some new features like the passing and catching modifier in Madden 17 and 18, and then target passing and like tackle battle. And yeah, while those features are like new and cool, they're not really essential to the game. You aren't going to play Madden 18 and go back to NCAA Football 14 and be like, there's no passing modifier, this game is unplayable. Unless you play like competitive Madden, which like, okay, I get it. My favorite part of NCAA Football 14 is the hurry up offense playbook. In other football games, when you call the hurry up, you only have access to that play and a few audibles. In NCAA 14, however, you have the option to run the hurry up and switch to different formations that also use the same personnel package as the play you just ran. This gave you way more options for what plays you could run out of the no huddle, which is awesome because the playbooks are amazing in this game. There were like 30 different kinds of options in this game that you could run, including the shovel option, which might be the coolest play in the game. And this game was made in a fun year for all of this too, because there are so many dual threat quarterbacks in the game, including Johnny Manziel, Marcus Mariota, Taj Boyd, and Braxton Miller. When you combine players like these with the dynamic playbook, the fact that the clock doesn't start until you set up on a first down, and with the no huddle option, man, those made games so fun and exciting and high scoring. Yes, there really wasn't much emphasis on defense, but that usually meant that when you played your friends, the first to make a mistake lost. That led to some intense fourth downs and quarters down the stretch. I remember being a freshman and playing against the dorm homies in college, and almost every game went down to the wire, except this one kid at the end of the hall. When he played, he was trash. But everybody else, it was a fun game. Now let's switch on over to the game modes. Now, a common complaint in reviews is that NCAA Football 14 is mostly NCAA Football 13 with a roster update, which, yeah, that's fair. But that's not the point of this video. For the most part, the game modes are pretty solid. Dynasty mode is still really fun. Here's me playing with Ohio State in 2021, and the game mode still slaps. The thing that makes this Dynasty mode different from Madden and 2K Dynasty modes is that the players are expected to only be on your team for 4 seasons, so you feel a little bit less attached to the players and more attached to the recruiting and the cycle. When you're 10 seasons deep into a college simulation, you have a completely new roster, and you know this. When you play Dynasty mode in, say, Madden or 2K, however, you get a longer overlap of real-life players in a league playing with creative players. For example, if you sim your NBA 2K Dynasty 10 years into the future, you might just get a roster of veteran Ben Simmons and 10 created players. It may just be me, but I think it's more fun when you know the whole roster is just creative players after 3 seasons. Also, I personally find recruiting to be a fun point in these games. Partly because you know you need recruits to come play for you, whereas in a pro video game you have scouting the draft, and if you don't get those players in the draft, there's also free agency. Now, I know college players can transfer, but it's like not the same thing. Also, pay the players. The cool part about the Dynasty mode is a skill upgrade system, meaning that over time you as a head coach unlock more abilities such as being able to recruit better or better develop your players. So by season 10, you become an absolute coaching god. So yeah, this Dynasty mode is really awesome. You can go season after season with endless possibilities, new recruits every year, and it would still feel like you're just coaching college football. Now, in my opinion, the Road to Glory mode was just a watered-down version of Campus Legend from years back, and the Heisman Challenge, while cool, is just like the same thing as the year before. I wasn't really a fan of the reaction time feature in the game. For those of you unfamiliar with the game, reaction time was kind of a time bank that allowed you to put the game in slow motion for a certain period. I thought this was stupid because no matter what difficulty setting you were playing this, reaction time made the game just easier, like very easy. And it's not like you only had a minute per the entire game. You were able to use reaction time for up to 5 to 15 seconds at a time. And depending on how well you did in the previous play, it would replenish. So you could be able to spam this for the entire game. As for Ultimate Team, look, I'm gonna be honest. In all my years of this game being out, I've never heard someone be like, yo, the Ultimate Team in this game was lit. I can't really speak much of it, so moving on. Now let's talk about the downsides of the NCAA football games ending when they did. NCAA Football 14 dropped on July 9th, 2013. The Xbox One came out on November 22nd, 2013, and the PS4 dropped on February 22nd, 2014. So this game was barely made before the next gen. To make matters worse, I've seen no evidence that these games are actually backwards compatible, so that sucks. I imagine that I wouldn't be doing this video if 14 was on the PS4 and Xbox One. However, the good news is that if you do have an Xbox 360 or PS3, there are people that take the time to make and update the rosters, which is God's work, because that takes a shit ton of time. So while the game isn't on next gen, it's still possible to be updated. If this game had been able to touch next gen, I'd imagine that it could be treated like any other game where they could just patch and make roster updates like Madden does literally every week. And even if they as a game were not allowed to, if this was on next gen, they could just treat it like the 2K rosters, you know, where you have a bunch of fan-made rosters and options to choose from. I know people do the roster updates for Xbox 360 and the PS